Okay everyone, so like the rest of the YouTube community and probably half the world, I have been watching the Shane Dawson series on Jake Paul. And honestly, like, it's not anything like I thought it was gonna be. Like, going into this thing, I thought that it was gonna be like this intense, dark documentary series on whether or not Jake Paul is actually a sociopath or not, which rightly was met with a lot of skepticism and negativity at first. I understand this because, like, the way that the first episode went with all of the dramatic music and sound effects and like the ambience and tension that he was trying to build with it kind of painted the whole having a social disorder in a really bad light. It kind of made it look like if anybody has any kind of social disorder or anything that's similar, that they're either scary or they're a dangerous person. And that's what I think he was trying to get off in that first episode, kind of building the momentum for the whole series. Personally, from a mental health standpoint, I didn't really think it was that right to do it like that, but I can definitely see why he went for that route, just to kind of give it a little bit more dramatic suspense. So I think he kind of meant it in a harmless way. But as the episodes came out, I started to realize that this is so much more than just a documentary on somebody being a sociopath. It's so much bigger. So it became less about the life of a sociopath, and it became more about the humanization of these group of people who have just been absolute YouTube machines, pumping out and grinding new content every single day, doing crazier and crazier stuff, and to the point where, like, they don't even know who they are anymore, and they just are, like, tired. They all look tired of this life, and they just want a little bit of normal. It reminds me of, like, when you come back from a music festival and you've just had the most amazing time and you've done the most extreme stuff, but you're just like, you're just done. You're just tired. You're just kind of, you're still happy and stuff and you're trying to put on that face, but you're just tired and you're ready to just go to a normal bed and relax. It just seems like the more this goes on, the series, you kind of get more of a realization of what Team 10 really is behind the scenes and what these people really are, like, who they are. And trust me, like, this doesn't, like, excuse anything that they have done. Like, I still think that he's a bit of a douche, and I still think that, like, these guys have done lots of things like bullying people, and they've just been so extreme with their stuff that really makes them come across as bad people. But underneath it all, you can start to see, like, who they are as a real person now. Looking at Jake Paul, for instance, like, you can't forgive any of the stuff that he's done, but this at least shows a different side to him. And honestly, so far, I think that secretly, it's not him that's come off worse right now. I actually think the people who have just come across the most sinister in all of this is Logan and Logan's dad. Now, they don't come across great at all. The dad gets depicted by a number of different people as this controlling, over-the-top, overbearing dad that really drilled into his kids how intense they needed to be on winning and all that kind of stuff, and really was a little bit of a bully, if you are asking me. Logan, on the other hand, seems to come across as this kind of manipulative, overbearing bully of a big brother that just kind of takes control of the situations and is really like an instigator in a lot of the things too. Going into business with your family is definitely not a good idea in the first place, but it's made much worse by the fact that his dad lives with him and controls a lot of his business. And then also the fact that his brother, the guy who he's supposed to be looking up to and he's supposed to be his closest person in his family, is the guy that slept with his ex-girlfriend, not ex-girlfriend, love interest. That to me just seems like such a crazy thing to do to your family, and it's not cool at all. Even worse than that, it's not being a good brother. And that to me leads me to believe that if he's able to do something like that to somebody who's considered to be the closest person to him, like, what else is he capable of, and like, what feelings does he really have? As a younger brother myself, I cannot imagine how much that would hurt and how demoralizing and degrading that would be to have that happen to me, and I can kind of understand. So the final piece comes out tomorrow, which, like, I'm filming this late on Wednesday night, so it should be tomorrow, which is today for you guys, and I'm gonna be watching it. I'm super excited to see how it goes. I do, on the other hand, think that it's not going to go the way that I want it to go and the way that I think it should have gone. I think he's going to cop out a little bit. Sorry, Shane, but I do think you probably will. I was hoping that it was going to be like this real deep dive, because it took such a U-turn with his brother and his dad being the more sinister ones. I was hoping that they were going to kind of dig more into that and find out exactly like how they've affected Jake and how they are really kind of orchestrating a lot of this. Truthfully, when I look at Jake, and I know he's not a great person and I know what all the stuff he's done, but I can kind of see in his videos how tired he looks, and I can kind of see some of the behind the scenes stuff, the way that he looks at his brother and the way that he kind of is emotionally around them and how he kind of is there in the background almost. I can relate to that, and I've seen that person in 1,000 different people, including myself. Looking from it as a person, I can see a guy who just like wants to be as loved as his brother does. And he just wants to be as big as his brother, and he just wants to be, you know, it seems like everyone's super proud of Logan, and it seems like he just wants to be a part of that and wants to be as much, you know, and that's kind of, Logan's the first kid, right? So he's always just kind of, it feels for the other siblings like they're held on a pedestal, and that's always pretty hard. And I feel like maybe in that sense, in that little sense, he gets a bad rap. Anyway, but the last thing I noticed isn't actually about the series, really, it's more about Shane himself. So in the first episode, I think it was, he is on his way into somebody's house, and then he turns around to his camera guy and he's like, hey, did I take my Adderall? Or he says something about taking Adderall, and then I believe he asks him to remind him about taking it or something like that. But anyway, there's the mention of Adderall, and that led me to believe, well, wow, is Shane ADHD or ADD? The reason why I bring it up is because that would be awesome. I mean, he's like one of the most successful people on YouTube, and the fact that he's managed to get as far as he is and do a series that's so groundbreaking on YouTube that it's changing the dynamics of YouTube, honestly, I think that's really amazing, especially with having ADHD too. On the flip side of that, we all know that people take Adderall because they just want it as a study drug. It's kind of often abused like that. If that's the case, and it was just to get through his interviews, I would be like a little bit disappointed in him, you know? Because for a guy with such a big platform as what he has, it would be a shame that he would be promoting the fact that he would abuse a drug like Adderall, which is something that a lot of people with ADHD and other mental health issues need drugs like that to get by, and it gives it kind of a bad name. It always gives the stimulant drug a bad name. So hopefully that's not the case, and maybe he does have ADHD, and if so, that's really amazing. Like, yay for ADHDers. If he doesn't, I'll be a little bit disappointed, Shane. But anyway, congrats, Shane, on like such an amazing series. I really, again, feel like you're changing the landscape of YouTube. I think it's really something new and defining, and I'm super excited to see with what series you come out next. Anyway, as for you lot, I'm gonna see you guys in the next one.